Hi, Sherry Doyen here, author, international speaker, changemaker, coach, and the founder of the new and emerging nonprofit Women Rising. This conversation today goes out to all of you that battle that deep inner loneliness, that emptiness. I want you to listen up. I'm going to leave you today with a really simple exercise that's going to change your life, right? Because I get it. Disassociation was my middle name. My first time out, or the first time I can remember anyway, I was like 6 months old, confirmed, right, by my mother. My life was compounded, right? One beating, one sexual encounter, one something after the other. I barely had time to rest in between and gather my thoughts before the next thing was happening, right? And we do what's necessary to cope. My body was exhibiting my inner world exactly, right? In plain sight, my soul was crying out for help. After years and years in traditional therapy, drug after drug, I functioned through the world's eyes, most of the time, right? Most of the time. But my body became more and more transparent, right? Physically, really, my blood pressure was so low I could barely stand up without just melting, slipping away. I weighed about 98 pounds. Food was my enemy, and in a sick, weird way, the world saw my body's dysfunction, my life's dysfunction as an outer beauty. What a mind game that was, right? You know, and my will to live, right, was about equal with my blood pressure. Psh, bottomed out. And the world's answer? Dope her up even more, right? You know, we can become so tangled in the past that we can't see the good when it does show up. Our suffering swallows us up. The most life-altering words were said to me by Deepak Chopra, right? And in a very kind way, he said, you know, Sherry, pain happens, but suffering is a choice. Deer in the headlights, like, right? And he looks at me and he says, well, how long has it been since you were last hurt physically, right? And for a moment, I had no words, right? What do you say to that? And then the anger started rising up in a defensive way, and I became very indignant, and you know, I speak strongly, and I said, I did not choose what happened to me. And he says, no, but you have chosen what has come after. You know, it took me years to fully embody the meaning of that. So my last big episode, right, I melt to the floor. My husband gets me conscious enough to get to the car. And again in the car, I just slip away. But this time there was a consciousness to it. And I could perceive without being able to see. And I knew I had a choice to make. I really had a choice to make, right? And I wasn't ready, right? I hung in this weird limbo place in the hospital for about 4 days. So this one day, my head was just splitting. I had a headache or a migraine. And, you know, absolutely for the lack of me being present in my body, right? And their answer to me was morphine, right? And I knew with a deep inner knowing that I wouldn't survive drifting any further away from this body. That I had a choice to make, right? You know, but, you know, being that far away, I knew that the choice to go and not come back would have been way too easy, right? Because life is a choice. I had to decide that this body was not my enemy and worth fighting for, right? That I was worth fighting for. Taking care of me had to come first. And from this point on, I became driven and led alternately to find freedom, right? The gifts that kept us alive are using us today. The magic, right, that we utilized to survive that has become a reaction instead of a conscious choice. So over the next few weeks, right, I want to walk through, some of these brilliances and turn their energies around so that you can start driving that car, right? It's time to learn to drive that Ferrari, right? And see what she can do. Now remember, this is going to be fun, right? There's no ruminating. It's like a puzzle in reverse. We're going to deconstruct what was and build what we want to see, one choice, one intention at a time. So the goal is to approach this with the energy of a roller coaster, right? When we get on, we experience this fear mixed with excitement. And if you remember, we used to call that fun. Fun. So today I'm going to leave you with a very simple exercise. So get comfy and close your eyes and just breathe normally. I'd like for you to take your awareness to the ceiling. And I'd like for you to drop down right into the center of your brain, into your corpus callosum. There's no worry about where that is. Your awareness knows where to go. And I want you to draw the energy that resides behind your eyes back into that same space. And just as if you were holding your eyeballs in your hand, I want you to release that energy and let it drop down into your heart. Welcome home. Right? Welcome home. Study what that feels like, right? Follow the energy as it fills up and warms your body, right? Now this is a check-in. We can't accomplish much in the inner or outer world, right, if we're not in our bodies, right? So over the next week, play with this. Anytime you feel overwhelmed, anytime you feel anxious, cold, empty, lonely, call yourself back home. If you're here listening, you're embarking on the most intense study of your life, and the subject is you. Winning at this game is about knowing you better than anyone else. Knowing what you want, what you like, what you want to be. My goal is to leave you each week with a tool or a new thought that can help you create change, understand your geniuses, and take a bow to the magic and strength, right, that got you to where you are today. I would love to hear from you. And hey, I have a map and a flashlight, and I'm prepared to come in after you, if you choose. Lots of love flowing to you and through you. Radiate out to the world.